Today, we're going to talk about something almost all of us have felt, that moment you hit a wall with your reading. We're going to look at how to finally smash through that plateau and become a faster, more confident reader. So let's dive in. You know that feeling? Like you're just pushing a boulder uphill, where every single page feels like a struggle and you just can't seem to get any momentum going? Well, you are definitely not alone. It's a super common frustration. But here's the good news. It's not permanent. In fact, it's usually just part of a cycle. And that cycle can go one of two ways. Over on the left, you've got the vicious circle. This is where reading feels slow and hard, so you just read less, which of course means your skills don't improve. But then on the right, you've got the virtuous circle. This is where you read more, your skills get better, reading becomes more fun, so you end up reading even more. It's basically the rich get richer of reading. The big question is, how do you jump from that frustrating track over to the rewarding one? All right, first things first, let's really understand the problem. Getting a handle on this vicious circle is absolutely the key to breaking out of it. It's the real reason why just trying harder almost never works. So this is that loop in action. When reading feels slow and honestly just frustrating, our natural instinct is to just stop doing it. But avoiding it is the one thing that guarantees we won't get any better. Our vocabulary doesn't grow, our comprehension stays weak, and the next time we try to read something, it feels even harder than before. So how do we break out of this thing? It might seem like it needs a complicated solution, but the answer is actually based on one incredibly simple, really powerful rule. Think of it like a switch that can turn this whole machine around. That's it. Seriously, this is the fundamental truth of getting better at reading. It's not about some secret trick or a magic bullet. The single most important activity for becoming a better reader is, well, reading. And this is that turning point. Committing to this one habit is what literally flicks you from that negative, vicious cycle right into the positive, virtuous one. Every page you finish makes the next one just a tiny bit easier. Progress actually starts to fuel more progress. But I know what you're thinking. Come on, if it were that easy, I'd have done it by now. And you're totally right. Just telling someone to read more isn't exactly helpful when reading feels like a massive chore. So let's get practical. We're going to look at 3 key strategies to build that initial momentum and make this whole process not just manageable, but maybe even fun. So here they are, the 3 pillars that hold up our main rule. First, we're going to use audio to get some momentum going. Second, we'll actively build our vocabulary to make the ride smoother. And third, we'll use some simple tools to focus our efforts where they count. Let's talk about audio. Listening to a text, either before or while you read, is an absolute game changer. It lets you hear the flow of the sentences, the rhythm, the intonation. This is especially huge for languages with tricky sentence structures, like German, where the verbs hang out at the very end. Hearing it spoken first makes it so much easier to process when you see it on the page. You're not starting from a standstill. You've already got momentum. Okay, next up, vocabulary. I want you to think of every word you don't know as a speed bump. It just completely kills your reading flow. You have to stop, you lose your train of thought, and the whole thing just grinds to a halt. The more words you know, the fewer speed bumps you hit, and the smoother and faster your whole reading journey becomes. This is why building your vocabulary isn't some side quest. It's absolutely central to fluency. Okay, so we know we need to read more, but what exactly should we be reading? This is critical. If you pick something that's way too hard, you're just going to get frustrated and quit. But if it's too easy, you're not going to grow. The key is finding that sweet spot. And that magic number? It's about 15%. What does that mean? It means the ideal text for you to read for learning should have about 15% of words that are new to you. That's the perfect balance between being challenged and actually understanding what's going on. And this chart here breaks it down really nicely. Look, if more than a quarter of the words are new to you, you're in the too hard zone. That's going to feel like a serious slog. On the other end, if it's less than 5%, well, that's too easy. It's great for your confidence, sure, but you're not really learning much. But right there in the middle, around that 15% mark, that is the sweet spot. It's challenging enough that you're picking up new words, but not so hard that you lose the thread of the story. All right, now let's zoom out a bit, because getting better at reading isn't just about, reading. It actually creates this powerful flywheel effect that boosts your entire ability in the language. See how it's all connected? It's like a set of gears. Better listening helps turn that first gear, which gives you momentum for better reading. And reading, that's the big gear in the middle. It really drives your vocabulary growth. And having a bigger vocabulary is what turns that final gear, allowing you to speak more confidently. Reading truly is the engine that powers the whole system. So here's the bottom line. The most important thing you can do to improve your reading is simply to read more. Don't let that initial difficulty stop you. Use those support strategies we talked about, listening to audio, actively building your vocabulary, to get that flywheel spinning. Because once it starts, it begins to build its own momentum. Which really just leaves us with one final, very important question. Now that you have a strategy, a plan, what are you going to choose to start building your momentum? What book will you pick up today?